So tell me about Elijah and what you understand of why we're here to talk about Elijah.
Because he's missing.
A mother questioned by detectives as they investigate her son's disappearance.
We have never, ever hurt that little boy. We love that little boy no matter what.
Months and months later, Danielle Dauphiné admits to the unthinkable. I have the tragic case of Elijah Lewis. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Elijah Lewis was an adorable 5-year-old boy, but sadly, his life was miserable. And in 2021, he died. And investigators in New Hampshire said his mother, Danielle Dauphiné, and her boyfriend, Joe Staff, were responsible. Danielle Dauphiné was sentenced last October to 53 years in prison. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in Elijah's death. The little boy disappeared in September of 2021. Investigators believe he died between September 21st and September 24th of that year. Elijah lived in New Hampshire with his mother, Danielle Dauphiné, and her boyfriend, Joe Staff. They were struggling with addiction and admitted to using drugs. After Danielle gave birth to a baby, they turned that baby over to a hospital under the safe haven law. That's when it was discovered that Elijah was missing, and an investigation into the boy's whereabouts began. Police tracked Danielle Dauphiné and Joe Staff down in New York City.
Why are you guys dropping me down? I'm not resisting. She's double up. Just the head down, I'm supposed to take him out. Come on.
What's your name? What's your name? Danielle. Danielle what?
Now, Danielle Dauphiné acts surprised that she's being taken into custody.
Babe, I love you. I love you. I don't know what the is going on. What's going on? Okay. Who's coming?
What?
Who's coming to pick us up? Who's coming to pick us up?
Whatever he said, I had no idea either. Sorry.
What Danielle Dauphiné did to her son is beyond the pale. She tortured him, she beat him, and starved him. She said she hated him. She may have given birth to him, but she wasn't much of a mother. I searched her in truthfinder.com, which is one of the largest public records search services out there. Danielle appears in Truthfinder, having lived in New Hampshire. And under criminal and traffic records search results, her criminal record for endangering children and second-degree murder appears in those results. She'll likely spend the rest of her life in prison for Elijah's death. Truthfinder is great because it will show you a person's past and current addresses, phone numbers, social media accounts, and of course, criminal and traffic reports. Log in Joe to the police station to interview them. Danielle is taken to a room with 2 detectives.
So I'm sure you have a lot of questions for us, and we have some questions for you.
Absolutely.
But before we jump into that, it's really important that we go through some paperwork and that I inform you of your rights. You understand that?
Yeah.
It's October 17th when this interview takes place. Danielle had given birth 10 days earlier, and she knows exactly why she's there.
So tell me about Elijah and what you understand of why we're here to talk about Elijah.
Because he's missing.
Okay, what can you tell me about that?
Okay, so Elijah, when I got Elijah back in May 26th of 2020.
Okay.
And his dad just like literally drove across the United States and just dropped him off to me. He's a very, very troubled child. He has a lot of mental issues. Elijah likes to sneak out of the house. So we have a slider door. And I don't know if you guys have been there.
I have, yeah.
So you've been to my house. So
yes.
Have you felt the slider door, the wiggly handle?
I didn't touch the handle.
Okay, so the slider door doesn't lock, doesn't
Okay.
latch. He likes to sneak out while we sleep. He wanders while we sleep. He's a wandering little boy. So he's done that so many times. You know, we would wake up and we'll find him. He'll come back in. He'll wake up, come back in, you know, whatever.
So you heard that Danielle say Elijah was a troubled child, and she suggests that he may have simply wandered out of the house. She said it's something that he's done in the past. Then Danielle admits that she and her boyfriend, Joe Staff, were using drugs.
Well, Joe and I started using drugs again. We were in active addiction.
Okay. When did that happen?
Honestly, I don't remember.
So are we talking
When I was pregnant,
months ago,
Yeah.
years ago?
months ago, when I was pregnant with my son.
It's kind of unbelievable, but Danielle says she and Joe started using drugs again because Elijah was so difficult. She blamed Elijah for their drug use. She said other things about Elijah too.
Because Elijah is just so much to handle. He would touch our daughter in her private spots.
Okay.
She would hide knives under his bed, tacks under his bed. He would steal things from our kitchen, and he would just do a bunch of stuff that not a normal little boy would do. So we started, we just fell off the train and just started using drugs. So in September, I don't know the date, I honestly don't know the date, but September, he decided to wander off again. And us being in active addiction and not wanting to lose our kids, you know, we tried to find him. We looked for him and we're like, okay, well, he's gonna come back. He always came back. So we waited, he didn't come back, and we're freaking out. We're like, where's Elijah? He never came back.
Then Danielle breaks down.
Okay. Would it be okay if I asked you some questions about that? Okay, take your time.
Danielle tells the detective that Elijah sneaked out of the house about a dozen times.
If I wasn't using, I would have reported him missing, right away, but it sounds so f***ed up. I'm so sorry.
The detectives listen as Danielle tells her story. They let her talk, and they listen very calmly, but they likely don't believe a word she's saying. Their priority is finding Elijah.
Well, tell me, so when did he go missing?
I don't know when. We were sleeping.
Okay.
So we don't know when he went missing.
No, I mean like a date or a day.
Oh, I don't.
or
Oh, God. Dates don't register when
Okay.
they're using.
Was it summertime?
No, it was September.
It was September.
Okay. Yeah, this was right before. Yeah, he was excited that we were having our baby and everything. He was so excited that the baby was coming because we were so
Okay.
close to delivery.
Walk me through it sequentially. So you
I'm
see
trying.
I know.
It's obviously I came back in and I took the stuff and I went and got high because I was freaking out. So it's all a blur.
So you said you walked outside and then came back inside and got high?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I can't find him. I can't find him. I can't find him.
So did you get high before or after you woke Joe up?
I got after.
Okay, so you woke Joe up and you said Elijah's gone, and what did he do?
He was like, what the again? I'm like, yep. I'm like, but this time I can't find him. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. I was like, I need to do something. I need to calm down. I need to do something.
Did Joe get high with you?
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
And then we were just trying to think of what to do, where to find him. We've been looking for him every day. Every day.
Why didn't you call the police?
Because we didn't want anything to happen. Because DCYF would get involved,
Okay.
and then my daughter would get taken away. So I don't know. It's so hard to explain to people that aren't addicts why we do the things we do, like why we ran, because we're scared. We're human, You know, it's a reaction. We didn't know what, just like we didn't know what to do.
And when you say you ran, you're talking about when you fled from New Hampshire last week.
The detectives already realize and they know that this sweet little boy in the photos is likely dead. At one point, Danielle talks about Elijah doing things to harm himself.
So he'd be poking himself with a tacks. And what other self-harming behaviors would he do?
He would scratch his throat. Like his dad, like the first time I FaceTimed him, he had scratches on him. Like, what happened to your throat, buddy? And like he would, Tim did not tell me any of his behaviors before I took on him. If I knew all these behaviors, I would have made sure I had stuff lined up for him to, you know, I'm not going to take on a child that has mental health issues and not have anything for him. You know, that just does not make logical sense.
Yeah.
And he didn't say that. He just said he might be autistic.
Okay.
And this is not autistic. I have an autistic nephew who is, but yeah, he would scratch.
Okay.
He would sit there and bite his arms. He would, what else would he do? He would like slap him in his, like do weird stuff. Like I just didn't like, I couldn't, I needed him out of my house. I needed him out to get help. Not that I didn't love him and want him. I loved him. I love him so much. I just needed him to get help. And I was just watching him suffer and I couldn't do anything. You know what I mean? I couldn't do nothing.
But slowly, Danielle begins to reveal some things that add some background to her story.
I was depressed.
Okay.
I never left a house.
Okay.
We never left a house. Never left a house with.
Yeah, that's
I
a
felt
lot.
like a prisoner in my house.
Sure.
Almost a year I haven't left my house. The only time I left my house is now. Haven't left my house since.
Wow. Do you drive?
No.
Okay. And you don't have a car, you don't drive. Okay. Yeah.
It's a
Sounds
lot.
overwhelming.
It was a lot. And I was scared because I was using drugs because I didn't know how to cope.
Okay.
If I wasn't using, like, I would have reported him missing, like, right away. But it sounds so f***ed up. I'm so sorry.
Danielle mentions how Elijah and all of her problems were causing her stress in her relationship with Joe.
Our relationship was definitely going downhill because of this.
Okay. So you're home all day with the kids. Elijah's behaviors are escalating. You're stressed out and pregnant. And then your marriage or relationship, you're not married, right?
No.
Your relationship is stressed out because of this. Sounds like your living situation is stressed out because of this, where to the extent that Joe's mom was saying she wanted you guys gone. Where would you go if you weren't living there?
I mean, we would save up and get our own place.
Okay. Was that your plan?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you were saving money for that?
Well, I mean, no, not necessarily because we had a drug problem.
Okay.
But we were actually going to go to detox before we left. But then this hit the fan and I just got scared because we're using. And I didn't want to detox in jail.
But still, Danielle doesn't admit to harming Elijah, and she said he was fixated on water.
How can we find Elijah?
Look everywhere. If I knew, I would have found him. Did you guys search the lake? I don't know. I didn't search the lake. I don't know if he could be in there, or if someone took him, or if he went on the main road, or if I don't know. I want to find him. That's all we wanted. That's all we wanted was to find him, so everything would be okay. That's all we wanted. We wanted to find him. We just didn't know where to look. I mean, we don't know how to look in the lake. I just don't.
Is that where you think he is, the lake?
No, I mean, that's a huge possibility. You know what I mean? We have a lake in our backyard and a little boy. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It could be a possibility, but I don't know. I can't say. I don't know. I hope not.
This interview with Danielle goes on for more than 2 hours, and the detectives try to get Danielle to tell them where Elijah is by empathizing with her.
You had more than your fair share on your plate, okay? And I think that anybody who was in your shoes, in your situation, would have lost it.
Oh, I definitely would not hurt him. No. No. If that's what you're going with, no way. No. No.
So Danielle, you don't have to get upset, okay? I'm just hear me out, okay? This kid had a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And he brought a lot of problems into your home. And I think everybody has limits.
I'm telling you the God honest truth, I did not do anything to hurt that little boy. I will swear on everything. No, I swear on everything.
Okay.
I swear on everything. I swear.
Detectives are interviewing Joe's staff in another room around the same time.
You know, Elijah, just like he ran out of the house. Well, I don't know if he ran or walked or crawled or whatever it was. But he's missing. I have no control over a young boy walking away or whatever the heck.
Okay, well, let's just call it what it is. We already told you that that's not what happened. You and I both know that's not what happened.
No, it is what happened.
Joe.
100%.
Then the detectives turn up the heat on Danielle to see if she'll turn on Joe.
If I knew where he is, I would honestly tell you right now.
Is that because Joe disposed of him?
No.
Did Joe bring him somewhere?
No. 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 Absolutely not.
Okay, well that's what I think, you know.
Well, I would know that though, because I was with him and he did not do anything.
Yep.
We have never ever hurt that little boy. We love that little boy no matter what.
Yep. But I don't want you to have the weight of the world on your shoulders
We didn't
for the
do
rest
anything.
of your life.
Do anything. He did not. There's no body.
Then where is he?
I don't know.
Where do you think he would go?
We could. I don't know. He could have been in the lake. Did anybody check the lake?
Of course.
Nothing. Yes. No. What?
I haven't found him.
No. I don't know.
Where do you think that we should look?
Everywhere.
Well, I mean, try to be a little bit more specific than that.
All over Merrimack. I don't know. There's woods surrounding
Well, he was on foot.
our neighborhood. I'm talking about. There's woods. Did you search all the woods? I don't know. I don't know if someone saw him on the road and took him. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a body. I wish I did. I don't.
About a week after this interview, Elijah's remains were found buried at a state park in Massachusetts. His autopsy showed that he died from violence and neglect. He had injuries to his face and scalp and acute fentanyl intoxication. He was malnourished and had pressure ulcers. Prosecutors said Danielle beat and starved her son to death. He was tortured. Danielle Dauphinais was charged with first-degree murder and second-degree murder. Joe's staff pleaded guilty to a manslaughter charge. Danielle later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. At her sentencing, her attorney said she was abused as a child. The prosecutor read texts between Danielle and Joe where she wrote, "He said he wants food and he wants me to stop starving him because it's not nice." Another text from Danielle to Joe read, "I'm going to kill this kid, Joe, effing screaming on the top of his lungs for effing water." There were also some photos found on Danielle's phone showing just how bad of shape Elijah was in. The judge didn't hold back when sentencing Danielle to 53 years in prison.
I look at this. This is not a magnet. It's a beautiful little boy. Your words shined a light on your intentions. October 25th, today, we went from "I hate him," "I just whipped the maggot's ass," to "I love you, Elijah." All of that has a profound impact on my view of you as an individual. Your words that I've seen are damning in this case. They are chords of terror that rain down on this little boy. They are chords of terror that showed your knowledge, your awareness of the torture you were inflicting upon this little boy.
You heard that. Danielle called her son a maggot. After the sentencing, Elijah's aunt, the sister of his father, spoke about Danielle.
Justice, I feel, was served a bit today. Knowing that she won't be getting out and she'll most likely die in prison is a huge relief, I think, for everyone right now. I think the judge said everything to her that we are all thinking. There's no excuse for what she did. She did not show any remorse at all for her son, and she deserves everything that she gets, and I am glad to hear that she's being haunted by him. That's what she deserves. She is a snake. She's a chameleon, and she will do anything she can to manipulate her way to, look better to people. I've seen many sides of her over the years. One thing I will say is that this person I'm seeing today, that's not who she always was. She did receive love. She did have many supportive people in her life, and all of this is just an excuse.
And police say Elijah's case is one that will never leave them.
Everyone that's worked this case, it will stay with all of our lives. It was such a heinous and horrible crime that she did and that Mr. Staff did. It's going to be with us her whole life. And we're going to look out for each other as well. That's something that we do at our department, state police, same way. We're going to make sure that we take care of ourselves and make sure if we need help, we will.
And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.
EVE Online is a vast universe, alive with the unrelenting activity and combined history of its players. Pursuing lives of adventure, warfare, and prosperity, they share this existence in the biggest single shard, free-to-play MMO of all time. Set 21,000 years in the future, EVE takes place in a distant cluster of over 7,000 star systems known as New Eden. It is a rich and diverse universe featuring densely populated havens of relative safety governed by 4 great empires. Hostile systems where player alliances make the rules. Even regions of anomalous and unexplored space that hold their own secrets. You play as a Capsuleer, a revered breed of highly trained pilot, having achieved immortality through the use of cloning technology. You navigate the universe encased in an armored capsule deep within your ship, where you have complete neural control and function as one. There are hundreds
Turn your ideas into video with AI. Add your branding, customize your subtitles, and resize for any platform instantly. Then share it with the boss. And be ready to do it again. Think creating video is hard? Not with Veed. Powered by the AI partners you know.
Long Island's waters have shaped our way of life for generations, providing jobs and recreation. Now, they're powering the future with offshore wind, Homegrown, renewable energy that breaks our dependence on foreign oil and volatile prices. Clean energy means union jobs and stable, affordable power. Offshore wind is Long Island's new...
We're going to start creeping that way. We're going to get down. Hey, no. Do not move! You hear me? Please, let us your face! Put your hands up! Put your hands on your face! Put your hands on your face! Sit still! Head your face, driver! Keep your head in your face! Do not move! Go to the ground! Go to the ground! Go to the ground!
Babe, what's going on? Why are we on TV?
Don't talk to me.
On December 7th, 2018, authorities in Georgia were alarmed about a killer couple while trying to solve a brutal murder incident. In a twisted investigation, the officers discovered a locked apartment hiding disturbing scenes inside, only to reveal to the cops that they were standing in the murder house of the couple who had already fled the area and had started planning their next hunt with no idea that cops were coming for them.
I just at this point feel like I need to kill myself because look what I've done. Will I be able to contact family before we go to jail?
At around 10:15 p.m. on December 7th, 2018, officers in Gwinnett County, Georgia, were dispatched to the 4,300 block of Leland Place Lane in Lawrenceville after receiving a 911 call about a car accident. In the call, a man told the dispatchers that his friend had been hit by a car. When responding officers arrived, they found a man heavily bleeding from the head and lying near a tree close to an apartment building. He was rushed to the emergency room, but unfortunately, could not be saved by the doctors. The man was identified as 32-year-old Marcos Guerra Lopez, an immigrant from Mexico. Marcos died the next day from a blunt force trauma to the head that had further fractured his skull and injured the orbital part above the eyes. Officers noted that there were no visible injuries on the man below the neck, which led them to suspect that it was maybe not a car accident that killed him. By the time the case was handed over to the county detectives, they were already 2 days behind on their investigation. Starting from scratch, detectives first met with the 911 caller to hear the initiating events that turned lethal. This man worked with Marcos as a construction worker, and the incident happened 2 weeks after Marcos had returned from his hometown in Mexico.
I'm Detective Smith. You're not in any trouble. All we care about is finding who did this. Does his family know what happened?
Yes.
Okay. So start from the beginning on Friday and tell me how you got to that point.
That day we were in construction. Lunchtime we were looking at the Meet Me page.
The man said they were using an online app called Meet Me to find a woman for Marcos.
I saw that girl, Glenda Williams, on the Meet Me app, and she's was giving out her phone number, saying money for that's all her, like, for him.
Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't speak English, right?
Yes, because he just got here to Lawrenceville like 3 weeks ago from Mexico.
Okay.
I asked her, do you have a place? And she's like, yes, I got a vacant place in the apartment where I was living.
According to the man, Glenda told them she used her old apartment for these meetups and invited them to drive to the same place. The man stated that Glenda had first asked them if they had gotten paid by that day.
He sent her a picture of him. And she's like, you're sexy, beautiful, and all that. And she's like, you must have just gotten paid.
Why did she say that?
I don't know, because, like, probably was Friday. She told her, like, everybody got paid on Friday.
How much did he have on him?
I'm guessing, like, between $1,000 and $2,000.
Okay. So you guys get there. Where's she at?
When we got there, she was already lined up for us to follow her.
He said that Glenda was already waiting for them in a red SUV when they got to the address.
She said, come on, follow me. I saw him going there, but I didn't see him.
Do you know if he went up the stairs? Do you know any of that?
No. After a while, I saw like a black guy walk out of that corridor.
Okay.
And I got in the SUV.
So he got into that red SUV?
SUV.
Okay.
And took off. That must be like the girl's pimp, Glenda Williams.
Next, the man said they got a nerve-chilling call from none other than Marcos, but he wasn't the one speaking from the other side.
Between 8:50 and 9:10, the guy called us and said, you better come and get this. We beat him up and he's going to die like in 30 minutes if you don't come and get him. And I heard Marcus like screaming on the background, like screaming like painful screams.
Uh-huh.
let you know when we're looking for him.
For the next hour, the man said he and his friend kept looking for Marcos, and they finally found him lying outside the building. The officers wanted to know about Glenda Williams, who invited them in the first place.
What did this Glenda girl look like? You showed us her on the meetup out, right? Did you find her on Facebook or anywhere else?
After that, I've been searching her on Facebook, and I like compare pictures from me to the Facebook, and they look alike. And it's
So you did find one?
It's Glenda and Russell Williams.
The Facebook page found by the victim's friend belonged to Glenda, but it was a shared account with a man named Russell Williams. Following the information, detectives also found a Facebook page named Glenda and Russell Williams with a picture of Glenda and her partner. They learned from the page that the couple was used to selling various items on Facebook.
You could be owed up to $500,000 from Uber's alleged misconduct settlement. Discover if you qualify in minutes. Uber made a big mistake, allegedly not doing thorough enough background checks on its drivers. And now, certain Uber and Lyft riders may qualify for large settlements. If you've faced sexual harassment in a rideshare since 2019, don't ignore this. A quick questionnaire could determine if you're eligible for compensation. In fact, CNN, PBS, Fortune, and NPR are all talking about the potential payouts to victims, because it's not the first time it's happened. Boy Scouts of America, the Catholic Church, and even the U.S. gymnastics team have been ordered by the courts to pay out anywhere from $65,000 up to $1.5 million to each victim who filled out a questionnaire stating that an incident happened to them. And now it's happening again with Uber, and you can find out if you're eligible for compensation. I know it may sound too good to be true that you could actually be compensated and get justice, but a court is saying that Uber allegedly may not have done proper background checks, putting riders in danger, which means you might be entitled to a life-changing settlement and the justice you deserve if you have had an incident with Uber in the last 5 years. This isn't the first time Uber has been in hot water. They've already been ordered to pay out millions in settlements, but this time it's bigger. The attorneys are just waiting for the victims to come forward to share their stories before pushing this through all at once. Lawyers estimate that individual Uber sexual assault lawsuit settlement amounts could range between $10,000 up to and over $500,000 per person. But it's important to put a stop to this. It's about more than the money. Rose McGowan and Ashley Judd came forward and told their story with the Weinstein case, and because of their bravery, justice was had. You have the chance to do the same for Uber or Lyft. If you think you may have experienced inappropriate behavior or worse in an Uber in the last 5 years, this is your last chance to join in on the class action lawsuit before it gets pushed through just like these others. When you fill out a simple questionnaire, you'll find out if you may qualify for compensation. Your information.
Detectives also found that Russell owned a red 2007 Mercury Mariner, which matched the red SUV vehicle description given by the 911 caller. His last registered address was the same apartment complex where Marcos had gone to. Detectives now had to verify the address to be sure it belonged to the same man, but shocking news awaited them at the site that further added chills to the scenario. When detectives reached the apartment complex, they saw patrol officers already working at the scene. Detectives learned that another incident of the exact nature had happened with another man around a few hours earlier. A man was lured into an apartment with the invitation of action for money, but it turned out to be a grisly nightmare for him. Detectives lay their hands on the suspect's lease papers, which reveal the full name of the woman as 20-year-old Glenda Carter. The victim, before being taken to the hospital, claimed that a short white female with black hair came to get him, and when he entered an apartment, he was beaten with a baseball bat and robbed. Coming across 2 incidents of a common nature in 2 days straight now concerned the detectives, who had known by now that they were dealing with multiple suspects, but did not have any physical evidence against them yet. Immediately after the second incident, detectives seized the apartment and went to inspect inside.
We are going to go into the apartment and see if we can find any of the objects that could have been used to hit either of the victims. We're going to be looking for blood, just anything that will help us identify the people staying in the apartment.
There's maybe blood drops on there.
That looks like it though.
Detectives found the apartment all empty, but horror was unleashed upon them once they entered the master bedroom. The room's carpet was disturbingly painted with large stains of blood. The splatters had also reached up the walls. A bloody hand was printed on the carpet, trying to paint the picture of a victim's struggle to escape.
He's aspirating blood out.
Detectives were now sure that both their victims were kept in the same room. Confident about getting some leads about the residents, detectives ran a neighborhood canvass, but neighbors had heard nothing unusual from the house.
So we didn't really catch anything. Nobody really heard or saw anything.
Out of potential leads about the suspects, detectives got to know that the second victim, who was still in the hospital, had recovered and was ready to talk. Hence, they arranged a meeting in the hospital.
Hey, I'm Detective Poppy. This is Detective Hamley. You feeling all right now, or?
Oh yeah, I'm too. You know,
What's going on with your arms? Are your arms broken?
it's broken days, you know.
Mm-hmm. We're trying to get a little more information on what happened yesterday. You went to the apartment complex? Is that where this happened?
Me coming there, yeah. Well, that girl I see.
The victim then began to reveal shocking sights he claimed to have witnessed after meeting the woman.
They say a man 34. She worked for me already. Open the door and everything. When I go inside, the two guys coming. I try to open the door. One attached me to the back. When he turned around, the other guy hit me to the back in my head.
With the bat?
Yeah. I fight. I hit it, that guy. When I hit it, the guy got to the floor. I took the other one back. Later, give me like 2 or 3 more bats. That's what happened with my hand. He asked me for the water. He wanted some money. And I tell you, I don't got it. I live in the car.
How did you manage to get away?
Because he got a lot of blood everywhere, you know, a white shirt. He go to the bathroom, he try to wash and everything. Then the other boy, I push the little boy. I push. When I push, I run out. I jump down to the harbor. I got my key in the engine. And I go.
Now, the 2 guys in the apartment, you said one guy's tall?
Tall. Yeah, he weighed maybe 180. He got like 19 or 20 years. The guy
has a bat.
Yeah.
Okay. He was a black male?
Yeah, but the other one, the big one, got a little bit and a little big fat.
So he had a little bit of hair on his chin and stocky?
Yeah.
Was his skin light or dark?
Next, the detectives showed him pictures of Glenda and Russell, but they were not expecting the answer they got.
You don't see anybody in there? No.
The victim could not identify either of the suspects that detectives had. He mentioned a tall black male who had hit him with a baseball bat, but according to his ending statement, it was not Russell Williams. It was frustrating for the detectives not to get a solid testimony, but it was also believed that the trauma the victim had endured after the sudden attack may have kept him from taking a good look at the attackers, and he might not have been able to recall the faces just yet. In any case, detectives needed to make a solid move quickly. But with the suspect's unknown whereabouts, they knew they had one resort: to return to Glenda and Russell's Facebook page and let the internet do its thing. The couple was currently trying to sell a TV online, and detectives decided to make an offer from their side. They used a fake account to bait the suspect and asked if the TV was still available. Luckily, it was still available, and with a smooth conversation, a mutual time was fixed between the 2 parties to meet in person the next day. Hope hovered over the investigation, assuming that the suspects would fall into the trap themselves without the detectives having to find them. Detectives obtained 2 warrants for Glenda regarding aggravated assault and armed robbery. If everything went according to plan, detectives would have enough to take the suspects into custody. However, things could also go wrong, as there was no surety about who and how many of them would be there. With the assistance of an undercover sting operation officer from the narcotics unit, detectives headed out to the meeting point with their eyes on a red SUV's arrival.
Going to be in that maroon Mercury Mariner, so that's good for us. So we'll also have the car that they were in when the homicide occurred. Now we wait until she shows up. They're going to deploy a flashbang for the element of surprise.
And then, the hunt showed up.
Red Mercury SUV pulling in.
Yes.
Pulling in, parking. We're gonna start creeping that way. Or if we want to check out. Hey, no. Police officer, stand! Put your hands up! Put your hands on your face! Put your hands on your face! Put your hands on your face right now! Do not move! You hear me? Sit still! Keep your head to your face, driver! Keep your head to your face! Do not move! Go to the ground! Go to the ground! Go to the ground!
Detectives identified Glenda Carter and took her into custody.
Babe, what's going on? Why are we on TV?
Russell Williams was also found and detained for questioning. A baseball bat with stains of blood was obtained from the vehicle.
You see that bat has blood on it?
Glenda said a relative of theirs was present in the inn nearby.
Glenda, I'm Detective Smith. Well, you guys are staying at the Red Roof?
Yes.
Okay, what room are you staying in?
206.
Is anybody else in there?
Yes, his brother.
Okay, what's his name?
Zarius Williams.
Okay.
Detectives decided to deploy into the Red Roof Inn and catch the third partner.
Left the door open. Yeah, just move up and try to push it open. I'm gonna go low. All right, I'll go push over and you go high. Here. Ready? Sleep on the bed. Yep. Darius, Gwinnett County Police. I need you to step up out of the bed. Keep your hands up in the air. Move slowly, okay? Step backwards towards me.
Another black male was taken into custody. Detectives seized the red SUV and brought the suspects to the station for questioning. With 3 suspects arrested, it was still a mystery to the detectives who the shot caller behind these lethal actions was. The man caught at the last was identified as 21-year-old Zarius Williams, whom the detectives suspected to be the third guy they were looking for. Zarius was also a local graduate from Tequila, Georgia, like his brother Russell, and had no prior convictions. Detectives first began their questioning with the woman in talks.
A good breakfast begins with Bob's Red Mill. From the passionate purist to the sweetness savorer to the good health guru, you can have a naturally delicious breakfast made your way with Bob's Red Mill.
This is Artlist.io, a platform built to empower your business with high-quality creative assets, music, footage, templates, and sound effects. Everything a brand needs to create stunning videos. Trusted by the world's biggest brands, it offers a tailored license to meet your business needs on any platform. This is Artlist, and this is how you create without limits.
Glenda.
I'm Detective Lane. This is Detective Smith.
I know you're pretty upset right now. You okay?
I just want to know
Do what?
I want to know what's happening.
Okay. So we have an individual who was robbed of his items, okay? And that took place in the apartment that was registered to you and Russell. Okay, so that's kind of how we got to where we're at today. Okay, so talk to me about Friday.
Glenda was asked about the day Marcos and his friends met her.
Tell me how that occurred. Just start at the beginning and kind of walk me through.
This is Lita. I didn't mean for that. We needed a money. Please get down. I planned on selling my body.
How are you meeting these guys?
Me. I was planning on having sex with all 3 of these dudes. They all was like, yes, we'll all pay you $60. And I was like, okay, that's $180. That's half of my room that I need to provide a roof over my head and food.
Glenda said that Russell and Zarius were there only for her protection, but things did not go well the day she met Marcos.
Russell and Zarius was just there in the back room just in case if I got...
Where did it go wrong?
Yeah, so how did we get to this point?
I started feeling on the dude, and then I went to the bathroom to, I guess, clean myself, and then that's when they just jumped out. Zarius had the baseball bat, and Russell, they both just jumped out. I was confused. I didn't know. And
So you didn't know they were going to do that?
No, I had no idea. I was
Okay, so you're in the room and they jump out. Did you tell them to stop?
I was yelling. I was like, stop it, it's serious. He was like, you shut the f*** up. I was in shock. I was going to legit sell myself. Because, I mean, when you're in desperate need of money, when you're homeless, I'm homeless, basically. I'm trying to have a baby and stuff. I'm just trying to figure out.
Where's your baby at?
Defects.
Glenda said that her daughter was in foster care and she needed to get her back.
Is it your child with Russell?
With Russell, yes.
So you said Zarius had the bat and he hits the guy. How many times did he hit him?
This dude was like trying to fight them. He fell and they kept beating on him. I guess the dude, passed out or something, and they literally dragged him to the tree.
But you didn't plan for them to do that, all right?
No, I just planned on selling myself.
I mean, you kind of knew that they were probably going to just try to take his stuff, right?
Glenda seemed unprepared for the actual questions detectives had.
Was that the plan, just to take their stuff and you're not actually going to sleep with them?
Possibly. I didn't know I was going to beat him like that.
Okay.
It broke my heart, literally. I cried that night.
So what did they take from him? What did you guys take from him?
They took literally just his wallet and his phone. So I'm willing to return the money to the guy.
Okay. So how long was it before his friends went to go find him?
Sirius had the phone, and the people kept calling the person's phone. Darius answered and was like, I beat your man, your friend, and I took them by the tree. Just go get him.
Why do you think Zarius made those statements?
Russell at the time was saying, I feel bad for this dude. Like, this dude could be dead.
At any point, did you guys call 911?
No, Russell wanted to I guess, make an anonymous call. And Zarius was in the back like, no, you just have to stop being... Y'all just go along with it. They're illegal. What they want to do.
All right. So on Sunday, what happened on Sunday?
It was just the same thing. I told them, only do it if they try to hurt me. Like, only hurt somebody if they hurt me. And it was like, okay, we got this.
Well, let us talk to everybody else and then we'll just come back and talk to you, okay?
Detectives then went to have a talk with Russell Williams and see if his story matched Glenda's.
We've talked to other people, and we know that there were some things happening where some people, ended up getting hurt. Okay. Ultimately, that apartment and where we know that things happened came back to you guys. But what I want you to do is just kind of explain it all to us so we can kind of understand what's going on, okay?
For sure. He was in a bad financial situation. That's all it was. And I have a job. We're trying to survive off of my income.
What do you work at?
I'm a welder.
So we know there was an incident that occurred on Friday at the apartment, okay? So can you walk me through that?
Well, I guess she just ended up talking to one of her friends, her friend over to the apartment complex. I was talking to the guy, asking if he had any money. We asked, can we borrow some money? We were agitated. He got kind of forceful.
Russell's story began to differ from what the detectives knew.
He ended up trying to touch on Glenda. We were just trying to ask you for some money, ask you for some help.
Okay, so who hit who first?
I was telling him, yo, don't touch my wife. This is my wife. And then he ended up hitting me, and I had to hit him back. I actually just pinned him down, actually, honestly.
Okay, so you pinned him down.
I learned that trade from in the military.
So at what point did Zarius come in with a bat?
I guess he was trying to defend me. Because, that's what brothers do.
Then what happens? What really happens after that?
After that, and I carried him down the stairs.
Okay.
Down the stairs.
What happened after that? Because we know that his friends were receiving some messages from the guy's phone.
We ended up sending a message of where he was.
Listen, Russell, I'm trying to be patient with you, but you're not being honest with us, man. And I'm not going to sit here forever and hear all this stuff. You're trying to say that these guys bucked up on you first. We know that's not what happened. We know that you guys invited these gentlemen over there with the intentions of robbing them from the start. Simple as that. Yeah, they were fighting you back after you attacked them, correct? I mean, there's a bloody baseball bat in your car registered to you.
You want to explain that? What's going on, man? Like, what's going on in your life that you guys need to do this?
This is not what's going on in our life. We just really wanted our daughter. That's all.
Explain that to me. When did you lose your daughter?
We couldn't afford to take care of her, so now she's in foster care. I don't know how, but somewhere down the road we became financially behind. All the bills that we had, like the car note, car insurance, we had credit people to pay back.
So, this is understandable. This makes me feel like you actually are a human being. Do you understand?
Things took a drastic change for the detectives once they wanted to know who was the mind behind that action.
I guess my biggest concern here is whose idea was this?
I guess it was like Glenda's idea.
Okay, once he got in the bedroom, where were you and your brother?
In the room.
What happened? Specifically, what happened?
I asked him if he had any money, and then he ended up grabbing up on me and pushed me back against the other side of the wall. That's when instincts kicked in, and I got mad and I hit him.
How many times did you hit him?
I hit him like one time.
That's not true. We've been in that room. We saw the blood. We saw his face. His eyeball was almost out of his face completely. It's not from one hit. What happened in that room?
And my brother ended up hitting him with the baseball bat.
How many times?
I want to say maybe about 3 times.
Okay.
Because he had ended up hitting him in the face.
Okay, so when you guys left the guy on Friday, you said that he was awake, alive. I mean, you said he was unconscious, I think, right?
No,
you don't know?
He was fine.
Well, here's the thing. He's dead. We're homicide detectives, okay?
He's dead as a result from the injuries he sustained during your incident. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us, Russell?
Did you say no?
No.
All right. He didn't come out as easy with it, but he gave it up.
Russell tried to shape the story in his favor, but failed. Detectives then turned to their last suspect, Zarius.
We know that there were some incidents that have occurred over the past weekend, okay? We want to make sure that we're clear on your involvement and that you get to tell your side, okay?
All I know is that it was just like a little setup, basically. That I hid in one of the rooms was that as soon as his back was turned, I jumped out.
Mm-hmm.
Was all I did was hit him a few times so that I made sure he was on the ground.
What'd you hit him with? Your fists, feet?
Fists.
Okay, what about the bat?
I have no problem with the bat.
We've talked to everybody else and they say you had the bat, okay? You may have hit him with your fist, but you also hit him with the bat. So which one did you do first?
It was a hand first.
Okay, and then when you hit him with the bat, how many times do you think you hit him?
3 or 4.
Whose idea was this?
I'm saying Glenda did. Glenda's.
And it was her idea for y'all to rob them.
Yes.
Detectives then told Zarius what happened with the guy they beat up.
The guy from Friday is dead.
We are homicide detectives, and he died as a result of the injuries that he sustained on Friday.
Did you know that he had gone that far when he was unconscious, laying there gurgling?
I mean, I thought that he was going to recover from that. Yes, I thought he was.
Interesting reaction, man.
All right, sit tight for us, okay?
Detectives then returned to confront Glenda Carter's story. But after talking to the guys, it didn't take long for her to come clean.
Looking okay? A couple things came up in our other interviews. They're saying that it was your idea to rob these guys.
Is that true?
I didn't help them do it. I just brought the guys. I didn't know what to do.
Okay, but you knew that they were going to be robbed.
I didn't know that they was going to be hurt, though.
Okay. The victim from yesterday had some pretty bad injuries. He underwent some surgery for his hand. He also had a broken arm. Okay. The victim from Friday is deceased. He's dead as a result of the injuries he sustained from you guys.
Well, what's going to happen, honestly?
Y'all are going to be looking at felony murder charges. Okay?
So we're all going to jail today?
Absolutely, yes.
Will I be able to contact family before we go to jail?
We might let you do that.
No. I just at this point feel like I need to kill myself because look what I've done.
Listen, you have a child to think about, all right?
Yes, and I'm possibly pregnant with another one. So it's like, I don't have nothing to live for. She don't deserve me as a mom.
Well, I don't think that's true. Listen.
Glenda, you'll be transported to the jail. You'll see a judge rather soon in the next couple of days who will explain everything to you in regards to your charges, okay? And you'll be able to get an attorney or have one appointed to you.
Shockingly, the sympathy for Glenda and Russell due to their daughter also turned into a sad revelation. After detectives tried to know more about the little girl from the Department of Family and Children's Services, it turned out that Glenda had no child in foster care. She was not pregnant, and she did not have a child ever.
So I talked to the Department of Family and Children's Services, and I was able to find out that they do not have a child actually, and they have lied about it before. And other times where Glenda's had run-in with the police, she uses that as kind of a tactic where she's told them that she can't go to jail because she has a child at home that she needs to take care of. But they were able to confirm that that's never happened.
Wix, one platform, any website. Unlimited creation. Describe your needs and goals, and AI will transform your tailored brief into a unique website.
Within 28 hours, detectives closed the case and arrested all 3 suspects. Glenda Carter was arrested on the charges of murder, aggravated assault, and armed robbery. She was later convicted of all 3 charges. Glenda's partner, Russell Williams, entered an offered plea to murder, aggravated assault, and armed robbery. He was sentenced to life in prison along with his brother Zarius, who would also spend his life in prison for murder, aggravated assault, and armed robbery. A simple man from Mexico who was working hard in America to give whatever comfort he could to his parents back home and create a better life, did not deserve to lose his life the way he did.
Pues era bien trabajador, bien alegre, tenía muchas amistades, lo querían mucho. Pues sus sueños eran de que él se iba a Estados Unidos. Dijo, yo me voy para ayudarte porque tú andas cosiendo en la costura y ya ni siquiera ves para ensartar la máquina. Él viajó por tener una vida más bien, para darnos una vida a nosotros bien.
In the last moments when Marcos's mother saw her son, she showed the heart of a warrior and hoped to keep his son alive by donating his organs.
Cuando él estaba en el hospital, la doctora habló conmigo y me dijo que mi hijo tenía muerte cerebral. Me dijo que si podía yo donar sus órganos porque él tenía todos sus órganos bien. Puso muchas vidas por delante.
Before ending the video, we would like to pay our heartfelt condolences to Marcos Guerra's family. May his soul forever rest in peace. For more such stories, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Mysterious 7. If you have a recommendation about a case you'd like us to cover, feel free to drop a comment. Until then, stay alert and stay curious.
Janet! When's the last time you had a vegetable?
Tuesday month.
Damn it, Janet! Meet Groons, a daily pack of 8 delicious gummies filled with all the essential vitamins, minerals, and superfoods you need to thrive.
But don't I need like over 60 essential nutrients? Vitamin C, D, zinc, copper. Oh God, it's so much.
Janet, my little superstar. Groons has all of that. And from whole food ingredients you can actually read, not some crazy chemical compound.
Organic spinach.
I can read it! Heck yeah, you can, buff boy! Bring it in, you two. Groons is packed with the 8 MBCs you need to feel better every day. Whole fruits, whole veggies, vitamins and minerals, herbs, antioxidants, prebiotics, and it's even got your full dose of mood-boosting adaptogens and super mushrooms, which could help with that anxiety I'm picking up, bud. Plus, they're an adorable, snackable, bite-sized treat you can take on the go. They're basically fruit snacks with benefits without the fillers. Like your childhood gummies grew up and got a real job.
And these are vegan too, right? I don't like to hurt animals.
Interesting. But yes, Groons are vegan, gluten-free, and ethically sourced.
Where can I get more?
At Groons.co.
Hey man, look, I work out, I get gains, and I know for a fact that if something helps you, it has to taste terrible.
Holy. Oh God. Groons figured out how to make gummies delicious and nutritious.
No pain and gain. It tastes like sweet berries.
Groons knows you need greens you'll actually like to take every day. Because without proper comprehensive nutrition, you will be severely deficient and die. Just kidding. But 92% of people are deficient in essential vitamins and minerals. Luckily, Groon's tasty gummies make sticking to a nutrient regimen easier than ever. Think of them as your ultimate spotter that meets you where you're at. Whether you're keeping cravings at bay on that business trip, staying sane through the madness of life, or crushing those demanding college years, Groons is just the assist you need. That's it, Janet! Take that full body vitality straight to the hole!
Tastes great!
Sugar.
Hi, friends. How are you today? I hope you're
By the
We're gonna start creeping that way. We're gonna just head down. We're gonna start creeping that way. We're gonna just head down. We're gonna start creeping that way. We're gonna just head down.
Turn your ideas into video with AI. Add your branding.
Sage, who am I? On social media, they portrayed themselves as parents in mourning, a couple who had just lost the 7-month-old girl they loved so much. But authorities in Chapin, South Carolina say there is much more to this story and more than what was posted on social media. Both parents are now behind bars, charged with their infant's murder. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. It is not easy to tell stories like this one, where the victim is so young and so vulnerable. And then you add in what authorities are now saying in South Carolina, that this young victim died at the hands of her parents. Here's a picture of that young girl. Her name was Sage Nix. You can see she was just a young, beautiful little girl, her entire life ahead of her. She was just 7 months old. Authorities in Richland County, South Carolina say on December 18th, 2024, emergency crews arrived at a home in this rural area of the town of Chapin to a baby who was unresponsive. First responders say they found parents performing CPR on the little girl. They rushed her to the hospital, but that is where she passed away. It's important to note that authorities say from the very beginning they found the death of Sage to be suspicious and they launched an investigation. Then on February 14th, Valentine's Day, Sage's parents, Kyla and Caleb Nix, were arrested and charged with homicide by child abuse. The facts of this story are shocking to say the least. They're incredibly sad, and what we found to be as shocking, if frankly more shocking, is as this investigation was going on, which authorities say they found this death to be suspicious from the very beginning, the parents were posting on social media as if they had lost a daughter to a freak accident. This is the mom's Facebook page. Again, her name is Kyla, and you can see in the 3 weeks after Sage died, she posted a link to a meal train for people to donate money for the couple to eat. She writes that she and her husband are, quote, broken, and say that they're in need, and, quote, food is good for the soul and belly. Please help us and pray over the meals y'all are providing. At last check, $365 were donated to this couple. And in the weeks that followed their young girl's death, Kyla posted tributes to Sage, like this video of her and her father Caleb, who's also accused in her murder. Sage, who am I?
Sage, who am I?
Who am I?
Who this? Sage. Who am I? Hey.
Sage. Sage. Peanut. And with that video, Kyla writes that Dada was Sage's favorite word. Now, even though on social media this couple truly made it seem like they were the perfect, loving family, look at this picture with the words unconditional love and harmony printed on it. Authorities say Sage's death was considered suspicious from the start. The county coroner said in a news conference that not only was Sage's cause of death blunt force trauma, but it was intentional. That is according to the local newspaper, The State. The coroner also said it took several weeks to make an arrest because of the amount of time it took to look through records, including records from pediatrician visits and trips to the emergency room. Now, even though the coroner mentioned that in a news conference, at the time of this recording, it is unclear what those records actually showed investigators. In that news conference, the Richland County coroner wouldn't say exactly what was in those details. She kept it tight-lipped. Here's part of what she did say to local news station WACH-TV.
There were some things that looked suspicious to us and some things that we were able to question both of the parents about. But again, we don't want to do anything that would jeopardize the justice that would happen for this baby.
Joining us now to talk a little bit more about this investigation and how we got to this point is Dr. Michelle Dupree, who is a former medical examiner as well as a former police officer and has worked in South Carolina. Thank you, doctor, for taking the time to be with us. I know this is not an easy story to talk about. The coroner in the county determined that blunt force trauma was the cause of death for this little girl. Take us inside the investigation and as a medical examiner, you're doing an autopsy, how you get to that determination.
Well, there's a lot of steps. One thing that we always like to do in child death investigations is we want to visit the scene of where this happened. We want to take a look at everything, the total surroundings, not just one thing. We want to look at, where the child is, what happened. We also, oftentimes we ask someone to recreate what happened. In this case, it sounds like it was relatively obvious from the beginning that this may not have been accidental. And so that always puts us on guard. And, children and babies shouldn't just die. And so we have to do a thorough investigation, which includes the autopsy, but it also includes things like toxicology, and also looking at past history. Has this child had a lot of medical issues in the past? And if so, what are they? Is there some reason that, that this may have been an accidental death? And that's one of the things that we really want to try and determine, was this accidental or non-accidental? And that's so very important, and oftentimes hard to tell. But head injuries are often the most common cause of deaths in children this age.
Yeah, because the coroner was very clear in saying that not only was blunt force trauma to the head the cause of death, but this was an intentional act. During an examination as a medical examiner, what little details can you see to determine that this was intentional as opposed to a fall? I mean, obviously there was an investigation by law enforcement that also contributed to this finding, but as far as the examination, what can you learn there?
And that's always a very good question. And so, when we fall, we typically injure things that are normal injuries. We injure our bony prominences, our elbows, our knees, our nose. When we have injuries in places that are not like that, then it's suspicious. And again, one thing we really have to consider is this is a 7-month-old baby. What can that baby actually do? They're not walking, so they can't actually walk over and, do something. So what is the ability of a child that age? And if that doesn't match up with the story that we're hearing, then it's obviously very suspicious. We look at actually the injury itself. When a child is hit with an object, or when anyone is hit with an object, it creates a depressed fracture. When we fall and we hit our head, it isn't depressed. It's more like just an eggshell fracture or something of that nature. But if it's depressed, then we know that an object struck that person.
And I know you're a former police officer as well, and law enforcement said in the announcement that these parents were going to be charged that they found the death of this little girl to be suspicious from the very beginning.
My name means loved by God, but God I did not know, and His love I did not feel. That is, until...
When someone is responding to an emergency like this, What are some of the telltale signs that this may not have been an accident?
Well, one of the things obviously is we want to separate the parents so that they can't compare their stories. We want to interview them separately. We want to find out if they change their story in that length of time. Is anything else in the house suspicious? How are they reacting? And people do react differently to grief, but then there are also some telltale signs that this may be, not really what is expected. And so we want to take a look at that.
And I know you talked about toxicology tests and results, and that was part of what the coroner had talked about. But when you're talking about a blunt force trauma, when you think of like an overdose, I mean, you would think that toxicology tests will play a critical role in that type of case. But this is a blunt force trauma case. What can a toxicology report tell you in something like this?
Well, we want to be thorough. And we have a saying in the forensic pathology profession that an incomplete autopsy will give incomplete results. If that child was on drugs or had some kind of drugs that they shouldn't have in their system, we want to make sure that there is nothing else that could contribute to the death.
We don't know what the history, at least publicly, that this child had gone through, if there were previous cases of abuse. The coroner did mention that they looked at emergency room visits in the past, speaking kind of broadly about it, that in these investigations, that's what you do, and also talking about pediatrician visits. During an exam, even though the cause of death may have been to the head, is the autopsy something where you're looking for other signs of abuse that may have happened during that exam? Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, we do a complete autopsy. We do an external examination, first of all, which we record every, bruise and scratch or scrape. Some of them are normal, some are accidental. But we also try to look at any aging. We x-ray the complete body to see if there is any signs of previously broken bones or current fractures. Then we also, of course, we examine the body internally to look for any signs of trauma, not just to the head, but any place else on the body. And then, of course, lastly is the toxicology. So it's a three-part process.
And you know this area of the country really well. You worked in the Columbia, South Carolina area as a medical examiner. You know this office that determined that this was a murder investigation and not just an accident. What do you make of how the coroner and law enforcement approached this investigation?
I think it was excellent. From the very start, the county sheriff became suspicious and called in the appropriate forces to help them. And that's really the team approach. Oftentimes in child abuse investigation cases, we have something called a multidisciplinary team. And it's experts from various fields, social services, law enforcement, medical, governor's office, and others that are going to look at things from a different perspective and then put it all together. And this was done from the very beginning. So kudos to the whole team. They did a great job.
And what do you make of the timeline? Because in December is when this death happens, the arrests and arraignment not until Valentine's Day. Why did it take so long?
Well, part of that reason is because of the investigation. Again, we want to be very thorough. Toxicology is often backed up in the lab, but we don't want to accuse anybody or make any mistakes. So we want to cover all the bases, dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and sometimes it just takes that long to do a thorough investigation.
Yeah, and I know you've also written a book on the issue of child abuse, and it's hard to kind of wrap your head around these kind of cases for people who haven't investigated them. And just like us in the media, we cover the stories, and then people are watching who read it. But what stood out to me as I was doing my research was just the public Facebook pages of these parents, where after the child's death, you would never have guessed that they would ever be accused of this girl's murder, and you would never guess that it was anything more than a loving household. How common is it to see that type of social media activity, even as police said that this was a suspicious death from the beginning?
Actually, it's very common. We call this a forensic countermeasure, and people committing any kind of crime often will try to hide it or misdirect the police or the investigation. And so this is not really uncommon. They're going to act like grieving parents, but generally you can see through that this is an act and it isn't genuine.
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house no matter what condition it's in. If you need to sell your house for any reason, click the button under this video to see if my offer is right for you. We make the process of selling your house easy and simple. No commissions, no fees. We'll buy your house in as-is condition, and you pick the closing date. No appraisals, no repairs, no hassles. All offers are completely confidential, and there is no obligation whatsoever. Click the button below this video and fill out a short survey so we can make you a cash offer today. If you're struggling to sell your house, this is the fastest and easiest way to get money into your pocket ASAP. Yes, we will really buy your home in any condition. We've dealt with it all. Click the link now to see how much cash you can get for your house today. Best case scenario, you'll get rid of a huge pain in record time with a nice chunk of change in your pocket. What do you have to lose? With a nice chunk of change in your pocket. What do you have to lose?
In Albion, no matter where you go or what you do, your mount will accompany you on your journey. Perhaps you'll pick the ox, a merchant's best friend. It can carry anything you throw at it. Anything. Okay, maybe not that much. Or the fearless armored horse. It doesn't mind riding even into certain death. And in case you want to cosplay as the ultimate edgelord, we've got just the right mount for you. Perhaps you prefer a more peaceful life, that of a gatherer. This deer will help you haul your resources. Just look at these strong legs. If you're unfortunate enough to encounter this beast, honestly, just run. Or go with a cat like everyone else. It's cute, I get it. Whatever your style or what you do in the game, Albion Online has the right companion for you. Albion Online has the right companion for you. Albion Online has the right companion for you.
And we'll see what more information comes out. And I just have to ask, I mean, for you as a medical examiner, and I'm sure you get questions like this all the time when people find out your background and the work you do. I mean, emotionally, how do you approach an autopsy, especially when it's, I mean, we're talking about a 7-month-old child.
It's very difficult. You know, nothing really prepares you for this. And the worst cases are child abuse and the elderly, because we're here to protect them, and they weren't protected. And often, unfortunately, especially with child abuse, it is someone in the family. It is someone that child loves. If they're old enough to talk and walk, oftentimes they won't even tell anyone that they're being abused. And they won't do that because they still love that person. And when we do get a fatality, it's very hard. It's hard to separate the emotion, but it's something that we have to do, and we learn to do that. We know that we're doing it to help the child. We're doing it to help law enforcement, to help the court, and to bring justice for that child that didn't deserve this.
And in the coroner also, a soundbite that stood out to me in her news conference was saying that she is something along the lines of saying, like, she's going to be darn sure if she's going to put murder on a death certificate, that's in fact what it's going to be. For you, what is that moment like as a medical examiner when you do an autopsy and it may not have been a clear murder, but it's something you realize that foul play was actually responsible?
It's heart-wrenching. It really is. There's no real words to describe it. You know, most of the time, fortunately, you don't know that person or that child that is on your autopsy table, but nonetheless, you have a connection with them, and you realize that it is your job to tell their story because they cannot tell it any longer. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's really true. You know, we are there to speak for those who can't speak for themselves, and to help get justice for whatever happened to that person. And so in the end, it's very rewarding. But initially, it's shocking, it's heart-wrenching, and it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's such difficult work that medical examiners do, but as we're seeing in a case like this one, it's incredibly important work. Dr. Michelle Dupree, thank you for taking the time to be with us. We appreciate it. Dr. Michelle Dupree, thank you for taking the time. Joining us now is former prosecutor with the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office and practice professor of law at Temple University, Marian Bracha. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I know that you've worked a lot of child abuse cases in your career. I just want to start with the Facebook pages of the parents, because to see what they are now accused of, but then you go back in time and you see them posting a link for donations and the funeral for their daughter and talking about how much how much they loved their daughter. How common is it to see that in these kinds of cases? How common is it?
Well, ordinarily not common. We don't typically see too much commentary from an accused defendant, someone who's facing charges. Ordinarily, once they have counsel attached, they're advised to exercise their Fifth Amendment rights and remain silent. Now, of course, before the charges attached and before they were considered suspects, they wouldn't have had that constitutional concern. So there is nothing really precluding the prosecutors from using the Facebook posts so long as they can be authenticated, so long as they can be attributed back to either one of the defendants. They can certainly use the words of the defendants themselves against them in court, barring some kind of pretrial motion that would preclude mention of them. At the same time, there might be a defense theory that's actually helpful to the defendants, that for all of the time immediately after the child's death, these two people were posting professions of their love for her and how much they missed her. And why would someone with a guilty mind be asking for support while they grieve, be asking for support for funeral expenses and for daily life activities, things like that. So it is a storyline that I think with this litigation could go either way.
You have worked a lot of child abuse cases in your career. Typically, how do these investigations work, where you have this emergency that authorities are called to at a home, and then eventually get to a point months later where the parents are charged with murder?
Unfortunately, that is oftentimes how the investigations unfurl, and I have all the respect and morals for the coroner who released a statement saying that we took our time with this investigation, that we really wanted to look into the records, look into any past hospital visits, look into pediatric records, to really ascertain what the cause and manner of death was in this child's case. And so with the time to do a full and comprehensive investigation, to look into the dynamics of this family, to look into the specific cause of the injury that led to the death in this case, I think it makes sense that there was a delay between the death and the charging, and it allowed for the authorities to do what they really needed to do to make sure that they had all of the evidence in place to make the right call in terms of charging these people and proceeding to prosecution against anyone.
Yeah, because I did find it, just going back to the Facebook page, where it just seems like this family, I mean, within days they're posting about this loss that they had. And as you pass by the page and you didn't know that they were charged with the girl's murder, and again, all, innocent until proven guilty, you would never suspect that this was a family where this type of case would happen.
Hello.
Yeah, and fuck you too! So, here we are. The adventure is hot. The big question is this my story or your story? Let's find out together, shall we? Got that blunt handy?
Hope you're up. I would let you sleep yesterday off, but I have some troublesome motherfucker to attend to, and it can't wait. I'm waiting for you at the main square close to my place. Sober up and come see me.
Yeah, good old Eddie. He's the head of logistics, so you better listen to what he has to say, huh? Go meet him. He'll prep you up for the job. I love the smell of tires in the morning.
You're here, looking good. Great. Sit down. I'll brief you up. Doobie? Here you go. That's what you're gonna be selling, so test it out. You know what? Sometimes when I get these so-called second thought kind of thing, I come here. Sit down and just watch this shit. You know that every trap in the U.S. has this bull? 25 million bucks it cost them. Always reminds me of who we are to them. Helps keep me focused. Anyway, how was the party?
Attention, attention. Attention, attention. To all guest citizens, police hours are to start in 60 minutes. Repeat, police hours are to start in 60 minutes. For their own safety, all inhabitants are to proceed to their quarters. Individuals caught in public areas during police hours may face consequences.
Atención, atención. Atención, atención. A todos los ciudadanos huéspedes. El horario policial empezará en 60 minutos. Repito, el horario policial empezará en 60 minutos. Por su propia seguridad, todos los habitantes deben dirigirse a sus alojamientos. Las personas que se encuentren dentro de las áreas públicas durante el horario policial pueden sufrir consecuencias.
Внимание, внимание. Внимание, внимание. Всем гостям-гражданам. Комендантский час начнется через 60 минут. Повторяю, комендантский час начнется через 60 минут. В целях вашей собственной безопасности все жители должны находиться в своих домах. Лица, пойманные в общественных местах во время комендантского часа, столкнутся с последствиями.
Yeah, you young motherfuckers tend to do that. Nowadays, I'd be fucked up big time for a week if I'd party that hard in one evening. Well, okay. Anyway, good that you stretched up, because we've got some jobs to do. Listen up. I'm your main and only contact in the cartel. Anything and everything considering the business in and out goes through me. From now on, I'm your daddy, your boss, your fucking wife, all in one person. You need dope? You write to me. You got the cash for the cartel? I take it. You shit your pants? I need to know before you change your underwear. Straightforward. We're gonna start basic. Grass and amp. There are 3 packages waiting for you in a dead drop at the back of the supermarket. Grab them, go home, and get your laptop. There'll be clients writing you soon. You make them sales, and I'll get back to you soon after. Questions?
Ding dong, motherfucker. Bedtime. During police hours, you should remain home. But we, the bad guys, we don't give a fuck. The police do, though. So you keep an eye on them and better stick to the shadows.
Yeah, ShadyCom. It's an encrypted app. Cartel's in the 21st century now, baby. Totally safe. Even if the police do get it, we can destroy all the data instantaneously, both server and on the client side. And they won't get shit. This is good stuff. Wish I had things like that in my time back on the street.
Can we, like, speed this up?
Oh, you're a smart boy. You'll find it. Anyway, get to work. Gotta go. We'll get to you later.
I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle real quick.
Just in case you're wondering, dead drops are hidden drop points, where you will retrieve smaller packages.
Yo,
Trash
you gonna explain
bins,
to me what the
hole in
fuck
the
just
ground,
happened?
a big crack in the wall, you
Oh,
name
now
it.
you don't know what I'm talking about?
They're usually marked by some kind of symbol, so you should find it pretty easy.
Bro, this fucking sun is bothering me. Don't make fun of me, because I do the peaceful world. It's the world that the shark doesn't attack you. I understand it's kind of cheating, but I just I want to learn how to build and stuff, and then once I learn how to do all that stuff, then I'll do another thing with the shark. necklaces, which is kind of annoying because they get tangled a lot. But they mean so much. But they mean so much to me, my necklaces. Mama, maybe that means something version of a huss. I did not mean to eat that fish raw. But I did. Did I lose a potato? No! Is this something that I could even kill? Oh, nice. Oh my god. That. just went out. I don't know what you're crying about because you just went out. Bro, look at all these. Hold on, Harley. Peace out, guys. I'm gonna go chill for a little bit. I'll come back on probably in an hour or two. Not sure, but I'll be back on.